Welcome back to SlashBack Cinema, where two Gen X dads revisit the strange, scrappy, and unforgettable horror from the 70s and 80s. I'm Shawnee.
And I'm Ryan. This week we're talking about Valentine's Day, when our thoughts turn to love, candy, and drowning in a tub of hot dogs.
That's right. Cupid is trading in his arrows for a pickaxe today, because we're talking about 1981's My Bloody Valentine.
And then we're throwing it back with a little bit of trivia from that year. How well do you remember 1981?
All right. So, Ryan, had you ever heard of this movie before?
I feel like I saw it on some lists, but no. I didn't know anything about this one. How about you?
I feel like it definitely fits into something we've talked about a lot of times, which is the slasher craze of there needs to be one slasher movie for every holiday. Because at this point, like the movie Halloween, which I think kicked this off, had come out in the late 70s. But even before that, Black Christmas had been out. And then Friday the 13th was the year before this movie. And so I feel like those three movies just communicated or convinced movie producers that what audiences wanted was horror movies around American holidays or North American holidays. And so, yeah, I'd heard about this one, but I feel like this one doesn't have quite the same love that the other ones I mentioned have had.
Yeah, definitely more obscure. And I don't know, you sent it over and I was like, I don't know about another kind of like generic 80s slasher. And you're like, oh, give it a try, man. You try it, you might like it. I think you said this was Quentin Tarantino's favorite slasher from that era. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's what convinced me when I read that. I thought, all right, well, at least we should give it a shot. And yeah, I was surprised. We got plenty of stuff to talk about. So let me ask you about this.
All right.
So in your family, is Valentine's Day a holiday? Is there like an expectation that you're buying chocolate or candy for the kids? Is that like an important holiday for Ryan's family?
I feel like Jen gets into it from the make sure the kids are covered perspective with the candy, and when they were little they would get some random stuff. I mean, it is not a big holiday, but yeah, you got to make sure you got the chocolates, maybe a bottle of wine, some flowers,
Valentine's romance.
Yeah. How about over there?
Do you remember in elementary school where you used to bring in cards for every kid in your class?
Right.
Did you do that? Yeah, we were like,
I feel like you had to make the cards, and then it was like those like candy hearts with little different sayings on them.
Those little chalky hearts, yeah.
Yeah.
Or like
chalky
little lollipops.
Yeah, the chalky hearts like were kind of gross, but I kind of liked them. Like there was something about them. Like I feel like it was like training wheels for Tums or something. Because I love Tums.
That's hilarious. Yeah, definitely. I feel like that's perfect. I don't know if you're going to add to that. Just keep that in the podcast. I really like training for Tums. You know what? Tums should come with little sayings printed on each Tum.
Yeah.
How are they not doing that?
Well, so now they've moved to. Yeah, this is going to reveal my my personal GI issues, but like now they've moved to these hard shell. They're more like candy. Gone to the chalky ones, which I still kind of like the chalky ones.
Yeah,
but the new ones have the hard shell on them, more like M&Ms. But
they still make the chalky ones, and
they do. They do.
I think they should have little things printed on them, like shouldn't have had that extra slice of pizza, or really a third meatball. Like they should.
Don't you realize you're over 50?
So let's get into this movie and talk about the plot a little bit.
Okay. Well, I can set this one up for us.
Yeah, go for it.
All right. So it's set in the small mining town of Valentine's Bluffs, conveniently named. I think the population of that town's like 3,000 people, which the town I live in is 1,500 people. So this is a bigger town than I live in. But I was like, wow, look at all these buildings they have. Anyway.
You were jealous of this town?
I know. I was like, look at all this town infrastructure they've got here.
That's so funny because I read it as a rundown town. Like it looked like it had kind of been beaten up by the 1970s.
Yes, it's had a hard life. So this is not Valentine's Bluffs. They've seen some better days, but they've got this simple rule, and it's don't celebrate Valentine's Day. And it's because decades ago there was this mine explosion accident that killed all these mine workers except for one guy, this guy Harry Warden. He survived, and well, he came back to extract his revenge on those who had been negligent and caused the accident, and he killed all these people. They locked them up in a mental institution, and then they said they'll never celebrate Valentine's Day again. Well, fast forward 20 years, and the next generation, they've ignored this warning, and they throw a Valentine's Day party. So the town gets all into it, and all of a sudden, murders start to happen again. The townsfolk are getting whacked. Teenagers are dying left and right. And people begin to believe that Harry Warden has come back for revenge. So that's our set dressing for this one.
I was immediately charmed by the fact that the town is called Valentine's. We've talked about this before, that if you're going to construct your entire movie around a holiday, you need to lean into everything about that holiday. So the random fact that the town is called Valentine's Bluff, I'm like, and then people in the movie are like kind of obsessed with Valentine's Day. One guy says, if there's one thing I love more than Christmas candy, it's Valentine's candy. I was like, really? Valentine's candy? That's your favorite?
And he's opening up like that box, a heart-shaped box. Those chocolates are like the worst. It was like eating wax, but he was very excited about it, except until he opened it up and saw, dun, 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 a heart inside the box.
Yeah. First of all, the people in this town are giving pretty substantial sized boxes of chocolate. It was those giant boxes that I feel like you only ever see in movies, or, that's what you give to like a new girlfriend. But I don't know. I never like those because it's always like a Russian roulette of chocolate. You don't know what you're going to get in there.
Well, half the time it's like the weird creams or fillings that like you put it in your mouth like, oh God, like we thought we were fancy when we were handing those out in high school, but they're pretty gross.
You know what? The fancy boxes are the ones that came with a little map that tell you what's in each one. I'm like, just tell me which one has caramel, point me to that one, and you can keep your strawberry cream.
Yep.
Those were the good ones.
Yeah, they really leaned into the Valentine's Day thematics, the streamers, the hearts everywhere.
Right.
And some fantastic taglines for this movie, too. We had Harry's out to steal your heart, cross your heart, and hope to die.
Yeah.
Heart burn. Sarah be my bloody Valentine. The list keeps going.
I actually thought the characters were kind of interesting. I was surprised how much time was spent on fleshing out the characters. Like these people, the movie spends a pretty good amount of time like getting you to know the lives of these characters. And there's a lot of them. There's so many people to keep track of. I was instantly lost with, wait, which one is this guy? And who's this guy? And how do these all relate to each other? And I didn't realize the kill count in this movie is so high that they're introducing you to 25 people. So because they're going to be knocking off like 23 of them. Like, there's really a lot of people to keep track of in this film.
Yeah, when they got to like the peak party that they've decided the town's canceled the party because everybody's getting killed, and then the kids are like, "Well, damn it, we're gonna have a party over at the mine in I guess their break room or whatever."
Well, if we aren't gonna have Valentine's dance, what are we gonna do?
Yeah. Why don't we have a Valentine party? Yeah,
party! They start introducing people that I've never seen in this movie. I'm like, who's this guy? I'm like, oh, he's dead.
Yes.
He's dead.
The movie, in the opening credits of the movie, a person dies. This movie does not wait.
They just got going.
It's the opening credits, two people in mining outfits. So when we say miner over and over again, we're talking about people that work in coal mines. So these two people in like fully decked out in miner outfits are walking down through a mine.
Describe what they're wearing, because like people might just think they're wearing dirty overalls.
Right. Now they were wearing, it's almost like they look like outfits you would wear to go to the moon. They had like these onesie jumpsuits plus a full mask with giant eyes plus a mouth
the
respirator.
Yeah.
And so you can't even, and they're wearing gloves. You can't see a person. They just look, and clearly that is setting up because that's what the killer's going to look like. So these two people go down to the mine, and then you find out that one of them is a woman. She wants to start making out. I felt bad for this actress who has to act sultry, taking off this mining costume, and then also act sexy around this guy's. He doesn't want to take off his respirator. So she's like, sexy respirator. And then he kills her. And meanwhile, they're running the opening credits, starring, also directed by.
I was thinking that, boy, apparently TikTok was inspired by this movie. They're like, hook them in 2 seconds. Like,
Yeah.
we barely started the film and somebody gets whacked. They're right out of the gate. I am surprised, honestly, that like this was sort of one and done. Like, I think people, was it Paramount that did this one? But they had expectations that this was going to be the next Friday the 13th or whatever. And it did make money. Like, I think they doubled whatever, or they covered the costs and then made a few million. But this one got thrown into the bin of slasher movies to be forgotten, although it did have a remake in, 2009?
Right.
Apparently, they decided it needed to be in 3D. I'm not sure why it had to be in 3D. I know one of the things that you'll call out as we watch some of these is people not having any sense of what it actually takes to tell a story in terms of how you film something. I thought this was well shot. Like, it was like framed up well, interesting cinematography. The fact that they put it in a real environment, I thought added a lot of character to this film versus some of these set ones, like House we watched last week. You could tell that was on a set, and it like creates a very different feeling than like these guys were in a freaking mine that I was like, I would not want to be down there. And I think they were shooting like sometimes like 900 feet down, had to like take precautions with the types of lighting that they were using to not actually set off methane explosions.
Right. Yeah, the movie really filmed in an actual abandoned mine, and you can tell it's like it doesn't look like a set at all. It doesn't look plastic. I was looking for interviews with the cast, and I couldn't find much. But damn, it must have been hell. It must have been freezing to film down there.
Well, should we talk about some favorite scenes? As I was watching this, there's definitely some that stood out to me, and I think the one question that rose to top of mind for me as I watched this, I was like, I need to talk to Shawnee about who does the laundry in his house, and how are your dryer skills?
Yes. So one of the early people that's killed in this town is a woman who runs a laundromat, and then the police open up a dryer, and then her body falls out, and the movie goes out of the way to have the dryer spinning so that her body is spinning around. And yeah, I wrote in my notes, how the hell is a human being supposed to fit inside of a dryer? Like, they're not 6 feet deep.
Oh my God. Yeah, well, it's one of those big industrial dryers, but still, like, that scene cracked me up because the cop, he rolls in and he's like something feels off, and he goes in there and he like starts assessing the whole laundromat. He's looking for this woman, Mabel. Maybe they had a thing going on, who knows? But anyway, he notices on the wall that the hearts are not facing the right way up. They'd been turned around upside down. He pulls one off and he's looking at it. He starts looking around. It's sort of like, the cross being hung upside down in this town, apparently, or something. And then he walks over to the one laundry machine, opens it up, and starts sniffing the laundry. Like, I was like, is this something that people do? But meanwhile, he doesn't notice that in the next dryer, there's a body that's been clunking around for the past 5 minutes. And surprise, it's Mabel. She's been set on the too high of a heat setting.
Yeah, detective, if you put a pair of tennis shoes in a dryer, it sounds like a thunderstorm in your house. How are you not noticing a adult human body spinning? Yeah, so that's kind of surprising. And see, this is another example of what I got a kick out of in this movie. The killer turns the hearts upside down. Like his attention to detail, very theatrical.
Yeah.
You know what it reminded me of? I think my favorite moment in the first Friday the 13th movie is when there's two people and they go into one of the cabins and they think they see someone in bed, and so they pull the blanket back, and it's just an axe sitting with the head of the axe on the pillow. And I remember saying to you, this means Jason had to go into that room, lay an axe on the bed, pull the blanket up, like the attention to detail that Jason was putting into this. Actually, it wasn't Jason. You'll have to listen to the episode to find out who it was. But this killer, who we're going to just keep calling Harry until the end, he is just constantly coming up with like clever or wacky little things to do, like turning all the hearts upside down, or sticking human hearts inside heart chocolate boxes and writing poetry.
Roses are red, violets are blue. One is dead, and so are you?
I was trying to figure out which one of the people in this movie, which character was a theater major, because I was positive that has to be the one who's the killer, because he's got such a way with his murders.
Lots of flair. Lots of flair. Yeah.
Every single one. So there's a lot of murders to talk about because this has, I think, the highest kill count of any movie we've talked about.
Yeah, he's really going for it. Like we've talked about in prior episodes, a certain ratio and formula around X number of minutes to how many teenagers need to die. Like, yeah, Harry was just letting loose. Like, it was high carnage and a variety of ways. I mean, he's pretty consistent with his weapon. I mean, there's some like variety in terms of like how it all came together, but nice little details like you're saying, like boiled human hearts in the hot dogs, hot water. Like, he really got a lot of use of that hot water boiling the hot dogs in that one scene.
And then did you notice that they don't realize the guy has been drowned in the hot dog water, and so they're just eating the hot dogs later on in the movie, not knowing they're murder dogs.
Murder dogs. Well, until they notice this heart float up, and they're like, "What's this? Gross!" And it's like, okay,
right. Yeah, the movie also raises questions about what the hell is in a hot dog, because the heart that they pull out of the hot dog water is exactly the same color as the hot dog. It looks just like a hot dog, slightly malformed. And so because they don't see a body, they're like, "Oh, that's weird. Odd-shaped hot dog."
That's the ketchup. Yeah.
And so about the 1 hour mark, I was getting a little bored. Because I'm like, I mean, we've met way too many people for me to keep track of. And I also was starting to wonder, what exactly is the plot of this movie? Like, who's the main character and what is the main character trying to do? But then, right as I was starting to wonder that, I felt like the best part of the movie is really the last 30 minutes. Because that's when the kids, the police have canceled the Valentine's dance because Harry has written so many poems and delivered so many chocolate heart boxes with human hearts that the police are like, we really need to listen to this guy and cancel this dance. But the kids are upset, and so they go down to a mine. Why don't they just go to one of their houses? Why is going down into the mine the next logical place to go?
So dark down there. On second thought, I think I'm going to stay right up here. Oh, no, you don't. If I'm going down there, baby, you're going with me. Oh, great.
Hey, hold on,
and then
everybody. Here we go.
I did have the note that this may have been the most let's split up sequences in any horror movie that I've ever seen. Like, it was like any opportunity that they were together, like one of them would go off in another direction. And well, guess what? That person got killed. And then they were like down to the last three. And then the guy's like, "Oh, I'm just going to go this way." And you're like, "What the hell are you doing?" And they kept splitting up. It was like people were dying left and right.
Yes, it also seemed like 20 teenagers went down into this mine. Every time I thought, well, he's probably the killer, because you start to wonder that whether the killer is really Harry, the miner from 20 years ago, or whether it's one of these people. But every time I thought he's probably the killer, that guy then died in the next scene. And in the last 10 minutes, I'm like, they killed every person I thought was going to be the killer. We're really running out of cast members.
Spoiler alert here. They did throw you off the trail there towards the end, where you're like, "Oh, wow, okay, that's interesting." But also, I will say, at no point watching this did I ever think it was Harry. Like, this is 20 years later. This dude worked in the mine his entire life. There's no way he's coming back and taking people out. Like, he's at this point, he can barely get out of a chair. Like, that's some hard work.
Right. Yeah, we're in our 50s, and we didn't live a life of miners. This guy's body
sat on
would
my
have been
ass
shot
for the last 30 years.
Right, and already we can barely get off the couch.
Yeah.
Yes, I have gotten lightheaded standing up. Have you had this happen to you yet?
Yeah, you might want to check in with your doctor, but yes, it does happen. Yeah.
Right. And so then at the end of the movie, this is something I did not remember or notice about these slasher movies, but I've talked about this every time we've seen one. In the late 70s, early 80s slasher movies, there's a lot of focus on who is the killer. They're like
the
detective
gallows
stories.
Who done it? Yep.
Yeah, but in a lot of these other movies, it's kind of got Scooby-Doo level, and the killer is big reveal. And unfortunately, in this movie, they finally discover at the end who the killer is, and they go, "Oh my gosh, it's Axel!" And of course, I wrote my note, "Who the F is Axel?" I don't remember. I've met so many people, I've lost track of who the hell Axel's supposed to be. Were we? Yeah. Did that discovery hit hard for you? Did you go, "Oh my God, Axel"?
I mean, I knew who Axel was, but yes, but I will say. So talking about this is like the final scene. That was like my other scene that I had highlighted as one of the favorites. The way it ends, Like, I will say, this is a flashback done right, Shawnee.
Yes.
Compared to
Yes.
Silent Night, Deadly Night, where we spent 40 minutes of that movie flashing back. Dad has fallen out of the car. Mom has been killed. Dad's fallen out. Like, I was like, oh my God. This movie, it happened so fast. I was like, what just happened?
Yes.
Like, they basically, they're like, why Axel? And then in a less than 20-second clip, they basically put his whole childhood on screen that explains why he's doing what he's doing, and you watch it and you're like, well, okay.
Yeah, right.
Okay,
So, yes,
I guess I get it.
you're absolutely right. In 15, 20 seconds, they're like, Axel, 20 years ago, was a little kid under the bed who watched his dad get killed by Harry. Because his
By Harry
dad,
Warden. Mm-hmm.
because Axel's dad was one of the town leaders who was responsible for this mine cave-in. And so Axel grew up because he saw his father die. It's very close to Silent Night, Deadly Night, where kid sees a parent die on a holiday, and now that kid is obsessed with that holiday.
We talked about it a little bit before, just in terms of like the setting being an actual town. I think this was in Nova Scotia. So it took me a beat to realize, I'm like, oh, they sound weird. I must not be in America, but the true reveal was when I kept seeing all the Moosehead beer.
Yeah, they a lot of time is spent in a clearly like an actual bar or pub. They're all standing around
like
drinking
the town hall.
beer.
Yeah,
and yeah, is Moosehead the beer they're drinking?
It is in every scene. It seemed like it was the official beer of this movie, Shawnee, and perhaps this podcast.
Oh, are they a sponsor for this episode?
Oh, they certainly could be. Moosehead beer. Who does the Moosehead beer?
Moosehead beer, brewed in Canada, possibly brewed with Canadians, made from ice-cold water, barley, hops, and legally, we're told to say no actual moose heads were used. But we're not ruling anything out. It's crisp. It's clean. It pairs perfectly with Valentine's Day parties. Moosehead beer. When your slasher movie has more moosehead than survivors, you're doing something right. Drink responsibly.
Yeah, we want to thank Moosehead Beer. Not a sponsor
really.
of SlashBack Cinema, but a real
Please.
company.
Yeah, don't sue us. It's just a joke. We love you.
I'm sure they're a delicious brand, and we only have the highest respect for your corporate identity.
For our
And
Canadian friends, we love
yes,
Canada, by
and
the
your
way.
intellectual property.
I think it's time for Stabby Scores. What do you got?
I think we should do how many beating hearts would you give this movie? So out of 4 beating hearts, how many beating hearts would you give My Bloody Valentine?
Well, we talked about that slashers are not our favorites, but I would say this is a pretty damn solid slasher. Like, it is well done, well shot. I'm going to land this one at a solid 3 stabs or hearts, beating hearts. Yes.
Absolutely. I'm 100% with you. Talk about that.
Oh,
Tell
nice. Yeah, I mean, it's got a great setting. The cast is solid. I think it's well written. It's got a good backdrop and story. The kills are pretty mean and kind of creative, and they really did lean in. We both appreciate a film when it embraces the holiday that it's anchoring to fully between the written notes, the poetry,
Yeah.
the cutout hearts in a box. You know, there's some real love put into this film. So it's a fun one. It's set in that 80s world. I enjoyed, like, it felt like it was a little bit of a time capsule too, which was cool. You were definitely back in that early 80s time period. But where are you at with this one?
100% agree. Yeah, 3 stabbies.
Wow,
it was
alignment.
better. Yeah, that hasn't happened, I think, in the last couple, but it was better than I expected it to be. I actually thought this movie did not get. It doesn't have the kind of love now that Halloween or Friday the 13th or Nightmare on Elm Street has, and it also didn't back then. The original cut of the movie I read was going to get an X rating for violence, and it wasn't because this movie was dramatically worse than other movies. It's because it came out. It was submitted to the ratings board 1 month after John Lennon had been shot, and so the ratings board was like really sensitive about death and murder and concerned about how movies were promoting killing and slashers. Even though a lot of people get killed, the deaths are just so wild and weird, and they're kind of creative. And like I said, my favorite part of the movie is really that the slasher has such a fun flair for the dramatic. In fact, there's one guy in the movie. Is his name CJ or TJ?
TJ.
All right, TJ. When he goes down to the mine, he's got his shirt buttoned down like 4 or 5 buttons, and he's wearing a scarf. He's tied a scarf around his neck. And when I saw that look, I thought he's definitely the killer because that guy's a theater major. But in fact, he was not the killer. Everyone I thought was the killer was not the killer.
Plot twist. Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought he was wearing the most like dramatic clothing. You don't see a lot of guys wearing scarves tied around their necks today. And I don't remember it from the 80s.
No, I've never felt compelled to wear a scarf around my neck, but he's bringing the flair. So nice job there, TJ.
Yes. So yeah, 3 beating hearts for me as well. All right. Well, I'm glad we got a little time here because Ryan, I have a question for you.
Shawnee, what's up?
My question is,
shall we play a game?
We shall. Yes.
Excellent. So My Bloody Valentine came out in 1981. So Ryan, today I have 4 trivia questions for you, all about things that happened in 1981.
Okay. I was 9 years old. I may or may not remember some of these items, but lay it on me. What do you got?
Yeah. Let's see. I'm very curious how you're going to do with these. I always think you're going to do better with the earlier questions, and then you always surprise me and then pull it out in the end. So we'll see what kind of drama we get out of this.
Okay.
So, Ryan, I was originally going to ask you a question about a band that formed in 1981, but there were so many similar bands to the one I'm going to talk about in 1981 that I actually reversed my question. So my question to you is, which metal band, I'm going to list 4 metal bands, 3 of them formed in 1981. So my question is, out of the 4, which of these heavy metal bands did not form in 1981?
Okay.
So 4 heavy metal bands, 1 of them did not form in 1981. You ready?
Yep.
Here are your 4 choices: Anthrax, Slayer, Metallica, and Def Leppard. Only 1 of those bands did not form in 1981. Big year for heavy metal music.
Okay. All right. Hit me again.
All right. You got Anthrax, you got Slayer, you got Metallica, and then you've got Def Leppard.
I'm going to go Anthrax.
Anthrax actually formed in 1981. And so did Slayer, and so did Metallica. Def Leppard is the only one of the 4 that did not form in 1981.
Later
They were later. Yeah, I think they were
later,
83.
huh? Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I was really surprised. Like, wow, 1981 is a big year for metal bands forming.
John, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
In what year was Anthrax the ancient disease identified?
I'm going to say the 60s. Let's say 1965.
Who knows? I think it was 1876. Yeah, there you go.
You
or
don't
maybe
actually have the answer?
700. I don't know. I'm just. All right, what do we got?
You ready for question number 2?
Yeah.
Okay, so now you've only got 3 choices here. So it might be a little easier for you. For all the other questions, I'm just going to give you 3 options.
All right.
So my question number 2 is, what popular cartoon premiered in 1981? Only one of these 3 cartoons premiered in 81. Was it The Smurfs? Was it Thundercats? Or was it He-Man? Which popular cartoon between Smurfs, Thundercats, and He-Man premiered in 1981?
Only one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm gonna go Smurfs.
It was the Smurfs. Well done, sir.
Yes.
I'm struggling to picture you as a fan of the cartoon The Smurfs.
I enjoyed me some Smurfs. Yeah.
Yeah.
Smurfette and Papa Smurf and
Gargamel. Did you have a favorite
Gargamel
Smurf?
and Azrael. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like Smurfs.
Was there a favorite?
That little. I didn't really feel like a close affinity to any particular Smurf. Just more of the Smurf ecoverse. Yeah.
I feel like Smurfs was one of those first things that that my family collected. You could buy every single Smurf.
Right.
Little plastic Smurfs. They were in Hallmark stores. And so we had quite a few of them. I feel like it's such a brilliant idea because because each Smurf has its own identity. You could find like there's a jokey Smurf and of course Smurfette, and so you could and there's like a sports playing Smurf, so everyone can have a Smurf that they associate with. There's Brainy, remember Brainy?
Oh, Brainy Smurf, yeah.
All right, so you're 1-1.
Yeah. Okay.
Question number 3. In 1981, it was the first year that a video game told a story in the cutscenes. So I'm going to give you 3 options. My question is, which of these video games was the first video game ever to tell a story in the cutscenes? Was it Pac-Man? Was it Donkey Kong? Or was it Galaga?
Yeah, because it became a thing. And I know Miss Pac-Man had a cutscene. I don't know about Pac-Man. I'm going with Donkey Kong.
It was Donkey Kong. Yeah.
Yes.
That was the first video game that had a story. And
yeah, because you were trying to rescue, was it the princess or whatever?
Yes.
From the name, if you think about it, it's so weird. Donkey Kong. Like,
yes.
It seems like something was lost in translation, maybe.
Yes. I explored doing just questions about one of these things, and I eventually gave up on that idea. But yeah, I learned that in Japanese, the game was originally called Puckman, but then there was concern that Americans would deface the Puckman arcade machines. And so, they went with Pac-Man instead. So there's a lot of fascinating Pac-Man trivia. Yeah, Donkey Kong is a weird name. There's a ton of stuff about why is Mario a plumber, and we don't have to get into it. I might save it for future trivia questions.
I think we should go deep. Yeah, well, we were down in Philly over the holiday, and we went to one of those retro arcades, and played me some Q*bert and some Donkey Kong, and yeah, it was fun.
Were your kids there? Were they impressed with what you could do? Did you show off?
So oddly enough, the game that really captured my 10-year-old nephew's attention was Robotron. If you remember that game. He was really into Robotron.
Remind me which one Robotron was.
So that's the one, you had the 2 joysticks, and you were one made you move, the other made you shoot, and each level, you'd have to kill all the things on the screen. And
okay.
What I realized is it's the audio still holds up in those games. It was so loud, and you're blowing everything up. He was yeah, and you can play side by side, so it was kind of fun.
I think the reason I have such fondness for the 80s video games is it's a time period, especially in early 80s, where you didn't have a lot of graphic fidelity.
No.
And so to come up with and design a video game, they really had to focus on creative concepts. Remember Dig Dug?
Oh, yeah,
where your job is it's a perfect game for this movie because you dug down into these mines.
Ooh, yeah.
And then you had an air pump that you would use to pop the bad guys. Back then, though, it was maybe a higher level of creativity. Am I? Do you think that I'm overly romanticizing that time? Or
I mean, I feel like what worked was they had a lot of limitations on like you're saying, in terms of the graphics and what could actually be done, and they made them really engaging. I mean, it's the soundtracks, I think, and the auditory components of those games, I think, and then also the graphics on the branding that they brought to it, and then the whole experience. You had to go somewhere else, so it's a very immersive and sensory engaging thing that happened with those games, and it was a shared experience too, which you get that now because you're playing online, but it's different because you're not together physically.
Yeah. Going into an arcade was also amazing, the cacophony, the music of all the games at the same time.
Yeah.
Boy, it was just a great feeling to go into those
casino training wheels.
I'd love it if people, I don't know if this little sidebar is going to make it into our podcast, but I'd love to hear listeners what their favorite video games were from that time and what you went to in the arcade. My go-to immediately was that Star Wars game where you flew an X-Wing fighter into the Death Star. It was kind of like the first game I ever saw that was kind of 3D, and the idea of being in an X-Wing fighter, man, I pumped so many quarters into that game.
Yeah.
And so that actually relates to my final question.
Lay it on me. I'm ready for it.
So you got the first one wrong, but then you killed it with the Smurfs and Donkey Kong. So you're 2 for 3 right now. Last question. So the movie Empire Strikes Back came out in 1980. And so and this is when they were really rolling with Star Wars toys. I felt like when the first Star Wars movie came out, they were kind of caught unawares that kids were going to obsess over these toys like heroin addicts. But by Empire Strikes Back, they were ready.
They were printing money. Yeah.
Yes, and so there was like every possible figure, but also all of the machinery. And so one of my most prize toys that I was obsessed with as a kid was an AT-AT walker. And so this was a popular toy in 1981.
That was a big spendy item there, the AT-AT walker.
That's exactly where I'm going. So Ryan, I looked up how much an AT-AT walker cost in 1981. And so my question, I'm going to give you three prices, and this is $1981. You tell me how much you think an AT-AT walker was.
And so for people that don't remember the AT-AT, it was quite large. Like, it was not a small toy. That was like, it was probably like almost 2 feet tall, maybe not quite that tall, and you could put a lot of figurines in there. This was a top tier item here.
Yeah, I love the fact that you could put a bunch of Star Wars figures in there. And by the way, they were Star Wars figures. They were not dolls. Let's get it right, people.
Figures. Yeah.
All right. How much was an AT-AT walker in 1981? Yeah, this is the thing that walked in the snow. So was it $39.99? Was it $49.99? Or was it $59.99?
In my head, before you started talking about it, I was like, it's $40. But like a lot of cash in 81. Like, I feel like we had one, and I can't believe, if I had one and it was $49, there's no way my parents bought it for me. Like, it definitely my grandparents bought it for me.
All right. My mind is blown right now because I wanted to follow up with, I didn't even think I knew anybody that had this toy. You and I were not friends like in 1981, but I was obsessed with this thing. It was just from TV commercials. I don't think I'd ever even touched one before. But it was the coolest toy I could imagine.
Yeah.
And so that's what got me thinking about it. So first, we can keep talking about it, but do you want to say, was it $39.99, $49.99, or $59.99? And I want to remind you, before you say your answer, almost every time we've played this game, when you go with your gut, your first thought, that is correct. And the more you think
49.
about it.
I'm going 49 because I was going to go back to 39. I'm like, that's wrong. 49.
$49.99 is correct.
Damn.
For $50.
What's that in today's currency? Did you do
I looked it up. Yes. If you were to buy one today, the amount that you would be paying, now I don't mean like as a collector's item because they're way more than this, but in today's dollars, $49.99 would be $179, which I actually thought was less than I expected it to be. But can you imagine buying your kid a $179 toy? I mean, I don't know. Maybe because everything's out of control because kids have $500 phones in their pockets that it doesn't even seem like that much. But the idea of a $50 Star Wars toy, I mean, the Star Wars figures were just a couple of bucks. It was way out of my price range.
Yeah, that's wild. Yeah.
As I was writing these questions, the thing that I was reflecting on was, do you call it an AT-AT walker or do you call it an AT-AT?
I always call it an AT-AT. I don't know what the actual,
Yes, you call it that because that is correct. Because let me tell you this story. This is one of my proudest parenting experiences.
Oh, okay. What do you got?
When Simon was in elementary school, this is my son, he referred to it in school as an AT-AT walker. And another kid in class said, no, it's an AT-AT. And Simon said, no, you don't say the letters. You say it, you read it. You call it an AT-AT. And then he and the kids started arguing. And Simon's response was, yeah, you don't call it a twin ion engine. You call it a TIE fighter. And I'm like, oh, Simon, I am so proud of you. The fact that he could pull that out and point out that everyone calls them TIE fighters, even if you don't know what TIE stands for. But Simon knew what it stood for and had that argument in his pocket. Oh, man, I was so proud. I thought that is an extremely persuasive argument. Those are AT-AT walkers. All right, so that's all I got. Ryan, congratulations. 3 out of 4 is pretty good. The only one that tripped you up, ironically, was the music question. I figured since you would have been maybe a fan of metal music, you might have gotten this, but 81, I don't know if at 9 you were listening to Metallica. That wraps up another trip down memory lane. Hopefully you enjoyed revisiting My Bloody Valentine as much as we did.
If you're enjoying SlashBack Cinema, subscribe to the show and rate and review us on Apple or Spotify. please do leave a comment. It really does help new listeners find us, and we appreciate it. If you'd like to support us directly, you can donate at the link below in the show notes. And a huge thank you to all our current sponsors.
Plus, we want to hear from you. If you've got a favorite memory from the 70s or 80s or a classic horror movie you'd like us to dissect, drop us a line at slashbackcinema.com because your suggestions keep the conversation alive. Just from your mouth.
You keep wanting me to eat this microphone, and then you get mad when I'm blowing it out. So I can't make you happy or my wife. What's going on?
Yeah, you don't know how to set a fucking table? Jesus Christ. Fork's on the left.
It's the wrong goddamn fork.
Oh my God, that was
I
funny.
told you, not the small forks.
I played that for Kim. No, I actually like when your mic is closer.